33-story hotel and condo project.
I'd probably be
okay,
like
like
that.
stop, tap.
This is a plan by the community for the community.
This one here. Show me.
No problem, Ken. Thanks for having me.
It's Kent Molgat for Kelowna Now. And we're joined by Ashley and Todd Ramsey. Hey, thanks for coming in, guys.
Thanks, Ken, for having us.
Thanks for having us.
It's so cool. I was looking at some of these little cartoons. I shouldn't call them little, these cartoons you guys make. Yeah. And this stuff is all happening right here in Kelowna. It's pretty neat.
Oh, it's crazy.
Awesome. Yeah. Making stories from hometown Kelowna is just a dream come true, really. Yeah.
And Todd, your background is as an animator.
That's right. Yeah. Animator, artist, just anything creative. I mean, I was born and raised here in Kelowna, and I was that kid that drew all over my math notebooks and, you know, got in trouble for that. But I guess it ended up, you know, it's a good thing in the end.
Right. So how did this come about? How did we wind up? It seems like the kind of thing that would be happening, you know, in Los Angeles or Toronto or maybe Vancouver.
Yeah.
How did it come to pass that this sort of thing would be happening right here, Ashley?
Well, well, we were, both of us worked in Vancouver for about 15 years in animation. And the reason I left Kelowna in the first place is because there was nothing in the way of animation. And that was kind of when Toy Story first came out, and I just fell in love with the art form itself. Knew I wanted to do something in art, took a few years of fine arts, but didn't really have the drive to be a starving artist, so I ended up discovering animation and went to Vancouver to go to film school there. And then both of us, Ash and I, met in Kelowna, and we both moved out there together and worked in the industry together. And when we moved back, I just got so sidetracked.
Well, we just moved back to Kelowna.
Pick it up from there. That's what we have too, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
You just regroup, Todd. Well,
Okay.
We spent about 15 years in the Vancouver animation industry, so I was a producer and Todd was a director, and we moved back home to, I was working with the Film Commission actually, to change up our lifestyle, be closer to family. And fast forward a few years later, we received an opportunity from Electronic Arts that would enable us to kind of gear up for the first 5 employees. And we thought to ourselves, well, I've got production, you've got creative, let's go for it. We jumped
so it was
off.
a grant or a tax
We
credit?
actually got an output deal with Electronic Arts.
Oh, okay.
And we started doing a lot of motion capture cleanup for the Electronic Arts games.
Right.
And then that enabled us to basically launch off and get our first 5 computers and get our space. And then shortly thereafter, we signed an output deal with another studio in Vancouver, Atomic Cartoons, which then we grew from 5 to about 50. And yeah, we just kind of have kept going with the ultimate goal just to create an impact in the community with the skills that we had. And we've just sort of built every year, just kept getting bigger and bigger. And we didn't really anticipate this would happen, but here we are today.
Yeah.
And we've merged with another Los Angeles-based company, Surprise Bag, and that's enabling us to reach a little bit more internationally into US. So we've now got US exposure, and we are now growing to about 250 people from 5 about 3.5 years ago. So
wow,
that's over the next few years.
Over the next few years.
Luckily,
yeah.
we don't have to hire them.
Okay.
Please,
tomorrow.
not overnight.
Oh, but Todd was saying that in the next few months,
Right.
you're going to bring in 80 people. These are all
Yeah.
animator type jobs, or is it a range?
Yeah.
Mostly animators, some production staff, a few designers as well. So in order to hire all those people, we're gonna take as many as we can from Kelowna. Like that's our first. First intake will be from the schools here locally, and then we're gonna have to go around all of Canada and go to some of the animation festivals, and I'll go and talk to some of the schools and try and recruit from Toronto, Ottawa,
Right.
Vancouver.
So if you're watching this now and you're from the Okanagan and you need a job
Yeah, there you go.
in animation,
Right. So I've been doodling in my notepad, but I don't think that kind of thing is what you need. It's
Well,
pretty high.
send it in.
But no.
We'll check it out.
But actually, the animator of 30 years ago
Right.
was someone where it was all about his hand and creating. But now a lot of it is computer, is it not?
right?
It's
but-
so back then everything was pencil and paper, and we still use the fundamentals of animation. All the same principles apply. It's like a trade. Once you learn the fundamentals of animation, software is just a tool to kind of help you
Right.
get to the finish line, save some production costs, and just make your job a little bit easier. But I think it's yeah, the foundation and the fundamentals of animation are the most important things.
So you still need to have that. Even if you are the most whiz-bang computer animator, you need to actually have the hand on paper
for sure.
part.
I think I would like to speak to the fact that we still hire people that have an art, like a fine arts background, and we actually train on the job at Yeti. So what we've done in the past is we've brought in people that have a fine arts degree, some kind of foundational art or anatomy, and we've assessed their portfolio, and they've done a bit of a work experience and a test, and it would take them 2 to 4 weeks to learn the software.
It's funny, I was looking at Schnargs, and I was wondering about and yet these people know anatomy, because I was wondering about their noses and things. It seems a little off.
Schnarg that's my show. That's a bit of the fine arts background creeping in.
But no, like there's some pretty weird looking characters there, but it's cool.
For sure.
That's what Yeti is, and I think like we want to always be a creator-driven, art-focused studio, and the technology is always evolving and changing, and so we need to make sure that our artists are always trained and continue to grow in that area. So I think that sometimes it's a bit of a barrier for people to apply for the job, where they think, oh, I'm not qualified, I don't have the technical skill set. No, apply, and we'll see. We can test you out, bring you in for a couple weeks,
It's a lot easier to train somebody the software as it is to train somebody to be an artist, right? So if someone comes in with a really good portfolio and knows nothing about the software that we use, I mean, we can get them up to speed in about 2 weeks just by sitting them down. So we look for people with the fundamentals.
What's it like in there? Like how? So the people are right next to one person's working on one thing, someone's on something else, and they're all one open workspace.
It's a pretty chill environment. It's a big open workspace. We've got dogs running around there. Dogs are like therapy, right? So it's kind of nice to have that. Old retro video games, the foosball, the shuffleboard. We try and keep it a really fun place, and the production half is separated from the lounge and the hangout area. So those that really want to work on a Friday and the rest of us want to goof off in the kitchen, then they're not distracted. So it's a good environment.
I made a pancake breakfast yesterday.
We've worked at enough animation studios in our past to kind of take little bits and pieces from all of them and sort of make this our own unique space.
But this is going to really change it. If you bring another 80 people, then could you just scale that up, or do you have to rethink the workspace a bit?
Yeah, we're just trying to figure that piece out right now. We have to figure out our max space, and I think right now we are looking at a number of different options for sort of an anchor facility within the Okanagan that will enable us to grow to the place that we want to create as far as a legacy in the community. So we do have a 7,000 to 10,000 square foot capacity right now, but we would be looking to get something more permanent for about 12,000 square feet. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It's all about just creating something that's permanent here for a long time.
Right.
So that we are an industry within the Okanagan that's recognized for the long term.
Right. I think it said something on your website about the fact that you're kind of a scalable operation. So,
Totally.
Work comes and work goes.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily super stable for every employee.
That's
but now you're starting to talk like you're really seeing a horizon that is pretty constant.
Yeah, so a lot of our key staff, we have about 65 or so right now, and they've been with us for 4 to 5 years now. So we have had a really great retention rate, very little turnover. People typically they'll anchor in the Okanagan, create a family here, buy their home and stay, and that's the goal. There's 2 to 3 months off between productions, but they love it.
But you're not seeing this in higher 80, this isn't just a blip for a few months.
No, not at all.
This is part of the foundation of.
And we try and line up projects to coincide with other ones that are wrapping up, so that someone can hop off one project, get right back onto another. They might have a month off, but when you live here in Okanagan, I mean that month can be spent. Summer or winter, you're going to find something to do.
Sounds great. And if people want to, if they want to sort of get a feel for the kind of stuff you guys have done,
sure.
I guess they can go to your website. There's some examples there. But what are some of the places where your work has been seen?
Sure.
Television, Teletoon,
Netflix.
Nickelodeon, Netflix.
Pretty much all the major broadcasters. We've just wrapped up a show called Mysticons. It's airing on Nick.
Mysticons.
We are currently in production on a show called DNAs, which is slated to be broadcast on Canadian television, on Chorus, on all the children's channels. And we have worked in the past on shows like Beat Bugs for other studios that are airing on Netflix, and Max and Ruby that's on Treehouse. So
Right.
we are doing work that is internationally distributed and renowned. And yeah, the next project we're about to announce is really exciting. So
I think
There's
the
something
most
that you know about right now, but you can't tell me.
we can't
That's
tell
right.
you.
Super exciting.
So
It is.
awesome.
top
Is there
secret.
some way I could pry that out of you? Could
Oh,
I
yeah.
offer you another cup
Can
of
you bribe
delicious
us with
coffee?
something? We got up the stakes a little bit there.
But anyway, but it's like building, doing like bigger brands is just attractive to us because it just really anchors our talent and gets really excited about
There's
that.
a lot of stuff that we can't talk about,
Yeah.
and it's a little bit frustrating. Like our big passion is creating our own shows and our own concepts and
Right.
ideas, and taking those to market and trying to get them picked up and sold. Like much like Schnarg, we had a development deal with Amazon, so you know we're creating the show with them, and that's typically what we want to do is have our own shows. I mean, service work is great. It keeps the lights on. It you know builds a lot of employees here in Kelowna, so a lot of people are working on service, but we really want our own shows to be
Give
to be the
birth to your
service
own
work.
ideas
exactly,
and,
and make them
sounds
right
great.
here.
Yeah.
Ashley and Todd Ramsey from Yeti Farm Creative, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
And thank you
you.
for watching Kelowna Now.